Hey, 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 hey. You're welcome. I mean, it's a good song. I think my favorite part of that music video is the like, no, 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 no. This. Oh! Yeah, it's all hippy dippy, but you know. All right, so first order of business is so we got your papers. I know I originally said due this Friday. Since I am a kind and benevolent instructor, I'm actually going to push the due date back to Sunday. So, speaking of pushing due dates back, there was a concluding course questionnaire, all of that stuff that you had to complete and then write a 1 to 2 page reflection on comparing your beginning of the semester answers and your concluded answers, how you addressed each, your response, etc., etc. So I'm pushing that back to Friday. So it's not due today at 1, which time already passed, but it's going to be due Friday at 1. So you have more time to get that extra credit in. You have more time for your final papers. What I would suggest is do your extra credit, do your reflection writing, get those done by Friday. You have your exam Saturday till Saturday, and then your final paper Sunday. So stagger that, but you can get that all done. Still debating doing a live stream, just an open discussion Q&A live stream, either this Friday at 1 or next Monday. So I posted about it in the discussion board. Let me know, and we can structure that and figure out what time works great for people. Because once I get a good read on it, then I'll be able to be like, all right, let's do that. So yeah, let me know, sound off, and let me know if either Friday or Monday would be good for just this open discussion live stream. Q&A, I'll address if you have any questions that you put in that concluded course questionnaire. I'm happy to address them then. So yeah, I'll do that. All right, I don't know if you've all been paying attention to the news, but fun fact, Louis Vuitton, the bougie bag and sunglass industry, I'm hip on the Louis Vuitton trend. Louis Vuitton, in case you don't know, burns their surplus bags and products, literally burns them, at the end of each year. So a company has this product that they sell, and anything they don't sell, they burn. And this maintains exclusivity of the brand and ensures that their products are never sold at a discounted rate. GameStop does the same thing, will burn its unsold games after a while to make sure people don't rifle through the dumpster or get any better deals. You've got products being burned because they didn't get sold. Same thing, I had a student tell me that they worked at Dunkin' Donuts, and the manager used to say, make them, corporate, I guess, made them pour bleach in the dumpster over all the donuts they threw away. So they weren't edible, and couldn't be rifled through. So bleach on donuts, things like that. Woo! I have a friend, well, we don't need to get into that. Anyway, so here's the other thing, last little bit in the news. It's been reported, since, if you all know, those tech companies like Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, all of those companies are meeting in front of Congress today, I think. But I don't think Tesla is. But yeah, I know. Fun fact. Yeah, they pour bleach to make sure nobody tries to eat it. This year alone, we've had this whole pandemic thing going on. Total, you can look this up, total between of the American billionaires that we already have, in total, those billionaires got $434 billion richer from the pandemic alone. Jeff Bezos added almost $35 billion to his Warenacclamation, his wealth hoarding. If you watched the video, Jeff Bezos alone made an extra $35 billion off of the pandemic. And you might say, well, so what? That's just opportunistic. He's just an opportunist. Yeah, but it doesn't mean he worked harder for that. But can you take a wild stab in the dark? Who's been working harder for that $35 billion money? Just between Bezos, Zuckerberg, and Musk alone, $115 billion have been made from issues just stemming solely from the pandemic. They didn't work harder. They didn't do anything different. But based on circumstances, they made a total of $115 billion. Again, off of not working harder, but did somebody work harder? Who knows? Let's get into it. So, I'm going to read a quote. You get to tell me where it's from. Eventually, they all started selling their property and possessions and shared them with all, to each as according to they that might have need. I'll read it again. Eventually, they all started selling their property and possessions and shared them with all, to each as according to they that might have need. Who can take a wild stab at where this is from? Some communist utopian fiction? Maybe that's all it actually is. Some communist utopian fiction. Actually, it's from the New Testament. Specifically Acts 2:45. Discussing the early church. Those Bible thumpers out there, if you want to double check, again, Acts 2:45. Acts 2, verse 45, in discussing the early church, they all started selling their property and possessions and shared them with all, to each as according to they that might have need. Later, you got it. Later in that same stretch of text, there is a warning given to a couple named Ananias and Sapphira. They did not give all to the pot. In fact, they held back giving all their property and possessions and sharing them with all. And God struck Ananias dead. And then when they walk in, Sapphira walks in and they're like, hey, are you holding on to some stuff and not giving us everything? She goes, no. And they say, look, your husband's dead. And then she died. So, maybe, if you understand the other verse, you probably have heard that quoted, my thoughts are not your thoughts and my ways are not your ways. Look at the whole context of that, and what God is saying is, come and drink and eat if you have no money to pay for it. Weird. Starting to sound like those little things you see on Facebook of all those lefty liberals quoting Marx, from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Weird, because the Bible is saying that same thing, talking about the early church. So again, who knows? Depending on what you believe about the Bible, maybe it is just some communist utopian fiction. For those that don't believe communism could ever work, or socialism could ever work, it seems like it did for the early church. Worked just fine. Also, I had a student last semester, one of my vets, tell me, commented and goes, actually, it also works for the military. If you want to see communism work, just look at our active duty servicemen. They get paid a uniform wage no matter the work they do. They all have to wear the same uniforms, and those things are fugly. BDUs? Wolf. More like BD knows. They all have government housing that they live in, barracks, etc. And they have that paycheck and they do the work. They all have that thing and they serve a higher political power without asking questions. So, two places where, before I'm even again I'm not gonna bury the lead this time. Two places where it seems like communism and socialism could actually and have actually worked: the early church and our U.S. military. And I'm just waiting for that PragerU University YouTube video that's like, actually, this is gonna debunk this. Them leftists are saying these. What's the early church socialist? No. I'll be waiting on that. And Dennis, you can call me because I think you have an agenda. But what we're talking about, again, I'm just not gonna bury the lead. I think that it's an interesting argument. Everything we're gonna talk right now, and that's all the proof I need. Yes. Oh, that's cute. You looked great in your BDUs. Yeah, but Elliot, weren't you in the Navy? Navy had a different outfit than Army. I mean, I have a brown shirt and it's true. That's some people can pull it off, maybe. Yeah, who knows? Just waiting for the discussion board for Elliot to be like, that's what my wife said. She said, I like you in it, but I'd like you more if you pulled it off. Oh, boom, 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 boom. All right, anyway, enough of that dumb stuff. So, again, I'm not going to bury the lead. I think that this is such a fascinating conversation, and what we're talking about today is literally nothing short of exactly where we kind of touched on last class with Martin Luther King and the poor man's group campaign, the Poor People's Campaign, that you needed a revolution of values in America. And that is gonna be what we're talking about today. A revolution of values in America. I partook in a debate, even though I hated calling it a debate. I just wanted to talk about stuff. This spring semester, past spring, the Turning Point USA, and if you know what Turning Point is, then you'd probably be like, they asked you to participate? Yes, they did, because I'm a reverend Christian philosopher, and they were like, we want your perspective of this. I don't think they really did. I kept trying to warn them. Anyway, the opening question was about socialism, and I ended because everyone's like, well, socialism doesn't work. It never has and never will. I just brought up two things. But the third I was like, what about airplanes? What about space flight? Did those things not work until they did? And guess who, pioneered those things? Americans. So I think if anybody can make socialism work, America can. And if you think that we can't, just because nobody else has made it work, then you're unpatriotic. Because we made flight work, and we made space travel work, and we were the first on the moon. So you'd probably say the same things about that. But I'm an American, and I believe that if we set our mind to anything, we can do it and make it successful. So don't use "it's never worked before" as an excuse, because that's unpatriotic. They didn't like that. Alright, anyway. Caveat emptor. Who knows what that Latin phrase means? Caveat emptor. CAVEAT space new word MEMPTOR. American can't. Yeah, that's right. We are American, not Americant. It's been coined, caveat emptor, it's been coined as an indicative representation of capitalism itself. Wow, that's quite a start to that afternoon special. For access to the full video, or to get the full course, or just support me making new content that has everything or nothing to do with what you just watched, head on over to my Patreon, link in the bio. Join the community. I'd love to see you there and have you become a part of something bigger than me, but something where I can play my part just the same. See you there.